move on to the next song here. This was your suggestion, but I love this song too, so
Cool.
it works out. Sam Short's Aphrodite. Tell me a little bit how that record came together.
Yeah. That's an interesting story, that one.
Yeah.
Unlike the Chloe one, which was just like, oh, we did on the woman. It was like fun.
Typical,
Yeah. That song, I was working with Sam a lot at the time. And she had that song from her first EP that I did. But it was a different, the hook was almost the same, different lyric. But the B half was a different melody. And the verses were quite different, I think, actually, if I remember. And originally she wanted produced out like kind of almost like a Ray. You know what I mean? Like escapism kind of vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like full tempo, kind of like R&B drums, like, and we did that. The intro was still the same though. The intro was still that sweet space and the
like
vocal.
that bass,
Yeah.
That's one of my questions too, but let's keep going.
And her team was like, nah, we don't like this. The lyrics not connecting with us. We're not sure if it's the right fit for the EP that you're putting out, blah, blah. But me and Sam were like, it's a sick song, really? Like, it's really dope. And I will say, like, the lyric was like, I forgot what the other lyric was, but it was a little bit, it didn't hit as hard, the lyric, right? Like in the B half, it didn't wrap it up as nicely. So, I kind of get what they were saying. So we kind of let it die. I'm like, all right, whatever. We did the rest of the EP and came out. It did great, actually. And then one day she teased just the bass and vocal on TikTok.
Right.
And it went feral. It went crazy, And this was actually a year ago, like now, I remember, because it was right around Christmas time we had to do it. And because it got released January, like top of January. And she called me. She's like, hey, this is like really popping. It's getting like millions of views, like really fast, and like hundreds of thousands of comments. I was like, okay, cool.
We have to finish this now.
Yeah, so she's like, can we book a production day like ASAP and like just redo it with like, by that time it was another 6 months later, we had really dialed in the project of being more like kind of like pop, dark wavy, you know? I mean, like, can we just like revisit this and like redo the chords, redo everything, you know? I'm like, yeah, just do it. Let's do it, Except for the intro, we just kept the intro.
It's like people had heard that. Now you can't change.
Yeah, right. We can't change that. We can change everything else. So that's what we did. And I'm not. A lot of my day ofs are the things that just come out. So that wasn't the thing that was like I was worried about. I was worried like, oh, we can't. We had production day, and then next day went to mixing.
Oh, it was like,
and then it went to mastering, and then it got into the DSP and it came out like 3 weeks later. You know, so it was like fast. So that's the story behind it. As far as like how it happened, that whole song, which was kind of like a whirlwind of a thing.
Yeah, it's funny. Like those don't happen all the time, but it's like as a producer, where it's like, there's the debate which we don't have to get into right now. Where it's like, do you let artists preview music? Do you not? That's like there's pros and cons to it either way. But when it does blow up,
pays off.
You need not even pays off, but like you need to cancel everything.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing.
It's like you have to be like, oh, okay, this is not my priority.
Yes. I would have done it anyway, but it also helped that I was blowing up like right around now, like December. So I'm like, well, it's like a little slow anyway. Like let's just get in like tomorrow. Like it was like 2 days later, I think we got in. So yeah.
And just like get it going. Yeah, it's so funny. Like I've seen it happen where like something starts to blow up and like people just like don't get it out in time.
That's happened to me before.
Yeah,
honestly, with songs, and it's frustrating. There was this artist that will redact, but the song went crazy and her team just didn't jump on it fast enough, and we didn't finish it. And the time we did, nobody cared anymore, and it was like kind of a letdown for everybody. It's just like, well, now what? Like we didn't even release the song because like it didn't. When she reposted again, it didn't react the same way. It was like 2 months later. It was like, okay, well now it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, I mean, like listen, like everyone's attention span is already so short, but it's like. So you're fighting like short attention span, high competition. Yeah. Spotify's tougher than ever. Yeah. And Spotify, to give them credit, if they see that something is taking off on TikTok, they'll like be like, oh, okay.
They'll put it.
We'll push it.
Yeah,
a little
they'll
bit
push
more.
it. Yeah.
But if it stops, then they're not going to. Which is like, of course, I don't blame them because this is just what it is. So it's just being able to jump on those opportunities when you can. The production choice that you made are pretty unique, and I wanted to know what's like, I don't know if you remember, like what's like maybe your favorite like little production trick or little ear candy thing in there that you're like, ooh, this is one of my favorite things that like you really have to listen for.
Oh, there's two things. Okay. First of all, the chorus is 5 BPM slower.
Love
so it goes to 110, 115 to 110 in the hook.
Yeah.
Because she was like, I really want to like drop. Like I want like a feel to like drop into this hook. And I'm like, and we were trying stuff, and I was like, what if I just like slowed it down? You know what I mean? It made it hard to sing because of that, And there's this other thing in the hook. We did like this super weird vocal, and then I just turned it into like this synth. And it's like unrecognizable as her vocal, and then I layered it with like an octave up, and I messed that one up even more. Like super distorted and weird and verby. And it's in both hooks. And I just like love how I treated that vocal. Yeah. I mean, I do that a lot, but especially with Sam, her voice is very malleable. You know, you find vocalists that are just like,
right. It's like, oh, you just sound good.
Yeah, you sound good, and she just does like these oohs and ahs, and she just like give you a bunch of that, and it's like, oh, you're great. Like this is like this one moment is like that can be like almost like a hook within a hook, you know. So that like one of the main like synth things in the background of that hook is just her vocal that I really like messed with like a lot that day, you know.
Nice.
And I feel like that almost like it widens the hook so much without even knowing it, and it's like one of my favorite parts of that production.
Yeah.
Is just that vocal playing.
I love like you know, finding all the little. That's like my favorite thing about like, you know, doing mix with the masters, whatever. You're like, oh, I never noticed that. And I was like, that's sick. Like, that's really cool.
I always try to have a vocalist do at the end of the day or end of the vocal, just do one, even if you don't like doing ad-libs.
Yeah.
You don't just do something, and I promise I'll turn to something you don't think is your vocal.
The best advice I give to people, because, you know, I end up working with like a lot of like people early on, and like some people who have never done an ad-lib take. And the advice I always say, right, is like, one, obviously, like, you have to just go in with it like with like no fear, like eyes closed. But what I tell people is like, do a take where you're only doing like us. So it's like if you focus them a little bit, it actually makes them a little bit more confident.
Yeah.
Right? Where like first take, do oohs and ahs, like that's all you're doing. Second take, harmonies. So like you're only doing like the ad lib where like, oh, you're jumping up above it or below the melody or whatever.
Yep.
And then the third one is like kind of call and responses.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes with like, especially with newer people, where it's like if you do it like that, you'd be surprised what you can get, and people like surprise themselves
for sure
with like just like a little bit of direction.
Yep. You know, I give them like, okay, this take double words.
Right.
You don't even have to harmonize, just double them.
Yeah. Right.
It's nice. You know who taught me a lot about ad libs is Cody Hansen. Working with Cody Hansen, she's an ad lib queen.
She's
dude.
So good.
She really, I worked with her like 5 years ago, and like pretty not regularly, but like a lot over the span of like 6 or 9 months or whatever. And I'm like, man, she's like teaching. That's the best when you get with the artist. Like, oh man, you're teaching me how to really guide, because she's doing it herself. Yeah. But her ad libs are so good. She knows. I'm like, oh, this pass she just did this on. I should take a note of that just to tell people that. You know, like she's so good at ad libs.
She's so good. Yeah, I was funny enough. I was like one of her first sessions.
I know. Yeah.
And she's like, love Carly.
I love Carly.
One of my favorite people. But yeah, like the only problem with that is that she does so much good shit.
Yeah.
That you're like picking the best.
Oh, we'll sit there for half an hour, 45 minutes after that. I'm like, okay, this one or that one. And now that you battle the bands with it, is this one better or this one better? Is that one better or that one better?
It's because it's like everything she's doing is just so fucking cool.
It's so cool.
Yeah, and you're like, oh fuck, but does it really need it? But it's so cool.
I know, but and it's up for the production so much. Like again, like I leave room in